Good day. This is Thumbs United. I'm doing the second attempt at streaming editing projects for Thumbs Unite for live to tape. And so I think I figured out what the problems were that I had with last night. So here we go. It's gonna be a longer stream, I hope. Going late into the night. So I have Blender open here. Let me get comfortable. Okay. So this is the time lapse. What happened was last time it took me a long time to well, it was a long story. I told this kind of last night, but I was without internet until Wednesday night, and so that's why I wasn't streaming Monday like I said I would. But then on top of that, it took longer to render this time lapse photography than I thought, and so it wasn't really done until Tuesday, and then I had some other things I wanted to render too. And so even though I had internet on Wednesday, it was just like I just wait till the weekend to do it. And so this week I'll be live streaming more often, but yeah. So here we go. So pretty much for what we're going to be doing for live to tape is editing out all the license plates and things like that. It's pretty much only license plates that I have to edit out. So what I'm going to do is go through the first we're just going to watch it and go through, and then every time I see a license plate I cut the film, and that just lets me know where the license plate shows up. And then yeah. And then I go back and I edit it, put the censor bar over it and everything. So I'll be doing that a little later tonight. And then the new series that this is, it's a new series I'm doing for live to tape. I'm not sure what the title is going to be, but it's going to be something like Sunday Driving or the Sunday Drive, something like that. And there's going to be no voiceover. Right now, Live to Tape is doing story time, where they tell stories from around the world, the classic fairy tales, and then in the background on the video, it's doing these time lapse through the different landscapes throughout America. So it's really time-lapse photography combined with landscape photography, as well as, getting classic stories that a lot of people, don't really know, and they're not really taught in school that often. I mean, like maybe like first or third grade they teach a little bit of them, but this is kind of not the adult version, but it's more close to the original fairy tales from the time period. And so what the difference between what the Sunday Drive is and Storytime is, Storytime really only does one video clip a month, and I use the video as the time lapse photography because I need it. And like I tried to do the time lapse photography with like doing like 1 second, like a picture every second or a picture every half a second. And it just didn't work out, so I have to do hold on, I'm so busy talking to you guys I missed it. And so I have to do, so it was too difficult to do like a photo every second or a photo every half a second. It had to be something higher, so that's why I had to do video, and then I converted into each frame into essentially a picture, a JPEG, and then I have this kind of special software which combines the frames and then it comes back out as a movie. But what actually happens is I do animate the video, and so it's not a constant time lapse. Sometimes the video goes up to 3 times the speed. Sometimes it goes up to 8 times real time speed, and then other times it slows down to either real time, or sometimes it goes even to slower motion, slower than real time, and then it has like a simulated slow motion effect. We'll see it at the end of this video. And so story time, again, it's only one video clip. A month, and it's lined up with a story. And then with the Sunday drive is there's going to be no story, but there's going to be like ambience, sound, and ambient sound, and it's more like a relaxation video than anything else. Oh man, I can already tell this video is going to be a little bit painful. So in terms of a lot of traffic to edit out. And so then the part that's different is that Sunday Drives, the first episode, this one that I'm working on, it's going to be about a half hour of just driving and time modulation, which is the kind of time lapse that I do with this video, time lapse effect. And so it's actually going to be a combination of, I think it's 6 videos is the total. And so recorded, each video is a half hour long. And that's just the way the camera records. It divides the video files into, I think it's 4 gigabytes. There's a file limit of 4 gigabytes for each file. And that just ends up being like a half hour. It might be more than 4, because I remember getting video files that were more than 4 gigabytes. But whatever the case, it's about a half hour of footage. And then, so 6 of those is 3 hours of driving. And so that's pretty much all the driving from a day. And technically it's not, I mean, when I was filming this, it was recording, I was driving for more than 6 hours a day. But, the camera battery would run out for part of the trip, and I didn't make constant stops to check the battery. So it was just, as I needed a pit stop in real life, then I would take the pit stop and then change the battery if it was dead. So that's why it's only 6 hours of driving footage, even though I was driving much more than 6 hours a day. So we're almost done going through the first pass through. And it's a medium amount of things I have to edit out. And the problems I was having yesterday, it was a graphics card setting. It was the what's it called, the vertical refresh sync was on, and I've turned it off in the past, but it turned out that's why I was having all those problems, especially with OBS and with Blender. And it didn't help that I was working with the kind of the original file of full resolution, and it was at 40 megabits. And so that was very difficult for it to go through. So I went through and I took all the original footage, and then I made a copy, and I shrunk it down to standard def. So I'm editing the standard def, but what's going to happen is to render, I'm going to swap out the standard def for the original copy in high definition and high bitrate version. So a lot of things have been happening this week. Again, in advanced C++, I was, everyone thought, we're doing like the class or the teacher talks, and then we had to write our programs, and that ended up not happening. Last Wednesday it was all group work. We had to work on our final project. So we're done with the final project. We got it approved by the teacher. And so then this coming Wednesday, we had the final. The teacher gave us a choice if we wanted to have the final on this coming week, or if we wanted the actual end of class. And most of the class decided they wanted the final the week before class ended. So we're doing that. Okay, so I have all the clips of where I have to edit out the license plate. So this is kind of our black bar, and then I'm going to shrink it down and do the transform and everything. And this is where the animating starts. Let's save it. And then this is the fun part. I mean, it's kind of fun. Okay, sorry about that. My dog came to visit me. She wanted to go outside, so I had to go let her out. Okay, so I'm going to add the transform layer. And then we say alpha over, and then this is the part we animate. Okay. And then we position it where the license plate is. Usually I don't do trucks censoring the license plate, and it's not because I don't think it's important to remove it, but most of the time, for whatever reason, when I'm driving past them, you can't actually see their license plate. So it's a little bit weird the way it works out, but that's kind of why I don't have to usually worry about it. But because this, I mean, you can see this. You can see this license plate pretty clearly. And I'm just advancing frame by frame. And this is what I have to do for all the license plates. And then actually, because of the 3D version and the VR version, I have to go and I had to do this for the other camera as well. And so what I kind of learned is as long as I frame it a little bit bigger, there's usually not that much I have to change. I mean, I still have to move it over slightly to the left or to the right, depending on which camera sees it, but I don't actually have to do that much changing of the animation. So anyway, I was saying last Wednesday ended up being all group work, which was nice. Our group project, our final project, we're working with robots, and I mean it's okay. But the teacher gave us a paper we had to write, and I mean it would have been nicer to have this paper when we were getting the assignments, because a lot of what this paper is, we have to write out what we did for each version of the code we created in class. So it would have been nice to know we had to remember, what we did each class. I'd like to write it down. But so I wrote the first half of the paper, and then this other guy wrote the other half of the paper. And yeah, so we finished early. We finished about an hour early. And so then our group kind of started leaving. And then, well, what happened at the beginning of class was the teacher was like, "What's happening, Lloyd? You graduating this year?" And I was like, "Yep." I mean, well, technically I'm not. But that was my last class with him. And I told him, I said, I have one more class. They told me that the class wasn't offered in winter semester, so couldn't take it. And it was a class I needed for my degree. And the teacher was like, "What class was that?" And then I told him, and he was like, "Oh no, they changed the name." So it turns out this class that I needed, and I've been talking about this forever, complaining about it. This class I needed, they changed the name, so my counselor didn't know that. And it was going on this semester, and that kind of made me angry. I was like, I was glad I wasn't taking 2 advanced programming classes at the same time. But, I mean, I definitely could have done it. Because it was, this advanced C was kind of easier than I thought. And so the advanced C was easier than I thought, so I definitely could have done it. But so he was like, email, the teacher of the class, who's also the head of the department, and tell him what happened. And I was like, okay, I will. And then he actually went to go talk to the teacher while we were doing the group activity, and so then they met with me, the head of the department, and the teacher of the advanced class, and they were like, "We can do independent study over spring break." Oh, hold on. Yeah, so we can do we can do an independent study, they told me, over spring break, which will be happening really in like a week and a half. And then I graduated this year. I was like, okay. So I had to write them an email, and I wrote it yesterday because they have to do an audit, a degree audit. So fingers crossed it comes out, because I mean, last semester when my counselor checked, he said I only needed this one class. But when I checked right before I sent the email, there was one more class, and I'm not sure if I took it or not. I think I did. And so hopefully it's not a problem. I say that because there was a problem with my transcripts where there are like a couple of classes that I took and they're just not on my transcript anymore. And then the other issue is that I keep, like, since 2015, when I first went to the college, I went for art education, and then I switched to computer information systems, which, to be honest, I wish I would have stayed in art education. But I was a little bit pressured into going into science, so I did that, and then I switched it again from computer information systems because I didn't really want to work with a lot of databases, and it's more information systems is more like business and databases and things like that. It's more of a business degree than a computer science degree. So I went in. So then I switched it to application developer. Only every time I go in to see my counselor, my file always says I'm doing computer information systems, and every time since 2015, I've been telling them, I want to. It has to be application developer, and they're like, oh yeah, and then they push their buttons and it says it for that day that I'm a application developer, but then when I go and check online it switches back to saying computer information systems. So that's the problem, and this is where it gets even more complicated, where when I declared as a application developer, one of the reasons was because I didn't want to take an accounting class. And so when I was a computer information system major, I did take the accounting class, and I dropped it because I really didn't like it. And so that was like one of the main reasons why I switched to application developer, because it wasn't required. And so now when I checked for the degree audit before, I emailed the guy, and then so hopefully so now when I checked, it says that accounting class is required for application developer, and it's like, the whole reason why I switched to application developer was to not have the accounting class. And so then my issue is that, like, if I'm in the system, and the last time I went to the counselor, which was for winter semester, if he actually switched it and it stayed switched, then I wouldn't have to do accounting, because the way it works at my college is once you're declared, all the classes you have to take are guaranteed the ones that they had assigned when you declared. So like if it's your first day of college and you declare as an art major, and there's only like 10 classes you have to take to get to the degree, but while you're taking those 10 classes over like 2 years, they decide that degree now needs 15 classes to get to the degree. They'll still honor the 10 classes from when you signed up. So I'm hoping that's the case, but if it's not, then I don't get this, then I might not be able to do this audit of the class, because the only reason why you really get to audit is because it's the last, not audit, but I won't be able to do this online class, because I'll have more than one class I need to take, and so it's not really important that I I need this last class. So that's kind of the issue. And so fingers crossed. And I don't have to do the accounting one, because that will mess me up a little bit. I'll still have to wait a whole nother year. So I'm kind of nervously waiting for that. So I should know more Monday night. And then I have Monday. What I'm going to be doing is I have to edit. I recorded the 7th episode for Live to Tape, the audio, and this is for story time. So I have to go through and edit it, and it is a long one. When I did the voiceover, it was about it was maybe it's like 48 minutes long, which is unusual because it's usually like 25 minutes long, and then I edit it down to 12 or 8 to 12 minutes. Okay, so now it's gonna start to get complicated. I'm gonna take a short break, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna put on. So hold on one second. I'm gonna pull up a video, and you guys can watch it while I'm on my break. I'm just gonna get a drink and everything. So hold on. I'm getting it. And then I'm gonna do the okay, so here we go. This is just gonna be a video. So this video is going to play through. We're going to take a small break. This is the Sleeping Springs series of Kersley Park in Flint, Michigan. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I had to go run around for a bit. And okay, so I'm getting really tired, you guys. So I'm gonna finish up this video, and I'm gonna try and get through all this censoring, taking all of the license plates, and that's gonna be it for tonight. So let's get to it. And got our folk music. We're gonna have a party. Now today was kind of a big day. I went to go see some modern dance, and it was by Paul Taylor. And my sister and mom and me too. I'm kind of big Paul Taylor fans for modern dance. And so we saw a show. It was in Detroit, and then we went to eat at a restaurant, and it's a good one. It's called Small Plates, and so they bring you like small plates of everything, and that is not the right size. And so like you order, it's essentially like everything you get is a side, and the intention is that you're supposed to share it. Everyone gets a little bit of everything. It's kind of like Spanish food with the tapas. So that was very filling, and so we just got back from that, and oh my goodness, I'm like so full. So I'm a second away from being in a coma. So that's why I thought I could do a lot more streaming, but I can't. And then last night I was trying to do a long stream, but I had the computer problems with the graphics card, and that was kind of a bummer because I had drank like 3 cups of tea because I was really tired, and I was like, I have to stay up because I was planning to stream until like 2 or 3 in the morning, and nope, the stream failed, and I had all this caffeine in my system, so I did not sleep well last night. And I have to come back and do this car. And that car's license plate really shows up there. So I'm going to go through and edit that out. And then I do the alpha over. And we shrink it down. And it's funny editing these videos because a lot of times you see the same cars in the videos. Like this car, I think shows up 2 or 3 times this day. I'm gonna save it because I don't want to lose the work. And then I usually go like 2 or 3 frames at a time. So every 3 frames is about is a keyframe. And then I am framing it a little bit bigger. That's on purpose. Oh, anyway, so I was talking about small plates and eating. It was a lot of food and sharing with everyone. I got a little bit of everything. And so that's kind of putting me in the happy food coma where I thought I could stream more tonight. But, I mean, like, if I wanted to, I could drink a ton more caffeine, a ton more tea, but I'm not feeling it. I'm still sick. I was sick off and on throughout the week, and it was getting really bad. Last Tuesday night, I was sitting in bed, and like you know how like when you're sick and you can't really sleep because you're not comfortable. So I was kind of going through that, but then while I was sitting there, I was like thinking, oh, I have to go to school tomorrow. There's only 3 more classes left. You know, I have to show up. And anyway, so in my head, I'm like, I have to go even if I'm sick. I'm just going to show up for class and stay, you know, as long as I can. And it's not so much like, I feel like it's a virus infection, not like sick, I'm going to throw up. It's migraine and really bad migraine and all this stuff. And which is funny because I haven't been sick forever. And it would come in flashes. And so 1 second I'd be fine, and then the next second I just feel like I'm on fire, like really hot. Can't cool down fast enough, and then not even like 2 minutes later, my body temperature will go the other way, where it will be like I'm freezing, can't get warm enough, and so I was having like these major temperature problems. My mom's joking with me. She's like, oh, you need to go see a doctor because you have to get your hormones checked. Because, I mean, I've always had problems with temperature and everything, but she's like, ha ha ha, you're having hot flashes. I was like, maybe. But no, I was really sick Wednesday night because then in addition to that, I was while I was laying in bed, I was like, I can't, I was having a really hard time breathing. And so then after that started happening, I was like, okay, I gave my permission. I was like, you don't have to show up for class tomorrow if you still feel like this, because this is ridiculous. And then I was like worried because like I'm in bed and I'm having difficulties breathing, like really difficulties breathing, not just like a sore throat. And it got to the point where I was like, do I have to go to the emergency room now? Like I was considering it, and I was like, or do I have to, or will I wait till the morning and then go to the doctor's office? But it was getting really bad, and so then I decided, what, I'm just gonna rest a little bit and see if I need to the next morning, the next day. And so then, I sleep. The next day comes, and I'm just fine. I was like, what was that? It was just this weird moment of not being able to breathe very well. It felt like there was like a lump in my throat, but but it was just like the lump just kind of came out of nowhere. It was just came really fast and then eventually went away. So we're moving along pretty well. We're about halfway done. There's more on the second half of this project than the first half. But I'm starting to have fun. I hope you guys are too. And this car is going really fast because that's just one frame. And yeah, it's sped up, but still. So that one's done. And then we move on to the next one. I'm looking forward to this and to the rest of spring and summer. I have a lot of work in terms of gardening to do, which is what I get paid for, and so that's nice. Before, the gardening was really part-time, but now it's going to be switching to full-time, and I'm going to be focusing on that, and then kind of doing more extra jobs and things like that. I'm also going to start making more small books. So I've already designed 2 of them. I still have to make the cover, but they're going to be they're 20 pages, so they're smaller. But the book size isn't small. It's 8.5 by 11 inches. The book size. So each book has about 80 images in it. 80 or 90. The first book I designed was I think it was Canada. Yeah, Journey into Canada. And then the next book I did was photographs from in Africa. So those were fun. I did those yesterday while I was waiting for everything to upload and stuff like that. Speaking of uploads, oh my goodness. So I uploaded the Sleeping Spring, which is the video I was showing you guys before, and it was it took a long time. It took 4 hours to upload. And then the 4K version's still not out, which I don't understand. I think it's just it's going to take forever to process on YouTube. But it kind of tricked me where it said, oh, the processing's done. And it's not. The HD version is done, but the 4K isn't there yet. So hopefully that starts coming. Hopefully it finishes processing the 4K. Because what it does is, it does it like, it will process like the small standard def, and then the medium standard def, and then it does 720p, and then it does 1080p. So I guess what it does is it tells you it's done when it's done with the HD version, which is how it tricked me. But what is the word? Yeah, so it's still not done with the 4K version, the 4K or the 2K version. But I uploaded it, it finished uploading last night around 6 p.m. And then I published it to the Photation store, and still nothing. I mean, not 4K. So it's been about 24 hours of processing. So I'm hoping that the 4K is going to come, and YouTube just didn't decide to put the kibosh on it. Because I've seen other channels with 4K videos that are 4 hours or 6 hours long. Yeah, so we're almost done. Kind of the worst is behind us now. And these, the first 3 clips are shorter. They're about 5 minutes each. And then it's not till the 4th, 5th, and 6th clips. Those ones are getting longer. They're about 10 to 12 minutes each. So those ones are going to be harder to edit. And then Monday I have a lot to do, but I'm going to edit the live to tape audio and hopefully get it to the point where I can do the final render. And then, which is like unheard of for live to tape. Usually the project's finished rendering. The project is finished. Each episode is finished. Like the 3rd of the month. And so I'm really happy that live to tape is, the next episode should be going to Patreon on the 1st of May. Missed a whole nother car right here. Okay, so we only have like 4 more license plates to edit out. I'm gonna take a short break, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and we're gonna finish it up and then call it quits for tonight. It's been a medium length stream. It's been about an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, I think it's just these 3 cars in rapid succession, and then one more car after that. And they're going by pretty fast, so not a lot of frames I have to animate over. so that license plate is done. Now we move over to this one. I think it's a Prius. No, it might not be a Prius. Okay, so this is the second to last one. And then I'll play it through just to show you guys what I did. The car's going pretty fast, so it'll be pretty quick to do the animation for this. And then yeah, I'm gonna run out of things to talk about. But we're almost done. Okay, one more to do. Always remember to save, especially when you're close to the end. And almost dead. Okay, I think that's it. So I just play it through, so you people can see. So this is the first clip, and I'm not sure what the series is going to be called. It's a new series for Live to Tape. It's going to be called something like Sunday Drive or so, and it's landscape photography combined with kind of dashboard cam and time-lapse photography, and where there's a lot of time modulation. So it's kind of like in the movies when you see a shot go from a regular speed to slow-mo and back to a regular speed. It's like that. And so I edit how quickly the speed multiplier is, kind of. So sometimes it goes from being twice as fast to 4 times as fast. And sometimes it even goes up to 8 times. And then other times it slows down to like real time. And sometimes slower than real time. And I do it based on the environment. So if there are like something interesting in the landscape, or something I'm going by that's interesting, I'll slow it down to usually real-time speed, so you can watch it pass. You just have more time viewing it. And then if it's like a lot of really kind of boring land, and there's not much going on, or there's a lot of stuff in the way, and then that's when I animate the time modulation to go faster. I'll have it go to like 4 times or 6 times speed, so those parts go even faster. And that's how I edit. It's one camera angle, one just kind of like really long shot. And before I add in the time lapse and time modulation effect, each video clip is about 30 minutes of video. And then after I do the time lapse photography, editing and everything, it ends up to being around 5 minutes, 5 to 15 minutes long, depending on how many interesting things there are and everything. And so this one's really quick. Where I'm going is I started in Los Angeles and we're driving up. I believe it's Highway 5. It's through the farmland, driving up California. And we're going to head into Northern California. The first 3 clips I think, are of this I-5 driving through the farmland. Each one of those is about 5 minutes, and one I think is 2 minutes long. And so, like, a lot of it, it's interesting, but not that interesting. So that's why it's speeding up here and everything. And then once I get it more into Northern California, we start going through mountains and forests, and the episode will actually finish going into from Northern California into Oregon. So while during that kind of transition, there's a lot of forested mountain regions, and it's just really beautiful, and there's a really nice sunset at the end. And if you want to see kind of the end clips ahead of time, you can go to Live to Tape on YouTube, and episode 6, episodes 4 might be, hold on, let me check. I'll check for you guys. Hold on. So episode 2 through 6, that's Northern California, and then episode 6 is driving in Oregon. And so those are the ones I'm going to be editing a lot later. But right now, doing the traveling down I-5 and going into Northern California. So again, there's 4 clips I have to do with that. This is number 1, so I have 3 more to do. And I'll be doing that throughout the week. You see, this is that time change. This is like real time driving, instead of it being sped up. So that was it. That was the clip. That was everything we did. We spent a long time to work on a 5-minute clip. But that's okay. And this was like a medium workload. Some of the clips, there will be a ton more that I have to edit. So this one was a nice one to start off with. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'll be streaming tomorrow, probably midday. I have a lot of work I have to do outside and everything. So I'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. This project was for Live to Tape, and this has been Thumbs United. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.